Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be on stage again, especially for the Future Challenge, because of course, the future of our products, of the Visual Studio product family, this is what keeps us awake at night. And I would like to talk to you about our roadmap, about our plans, our visions on a short, mid, and long-term future. Let's talk about the short-term future first. We really believe in the value of continuous integration and continuous delivery. And our goal is to make our product better, to make it available for every team, every kind of app, and every platform. What does that mean? Of course, we have planning and tracking of work. You probably know these tools. You know that we have development tools, CI, CD tools. You know that we have tools for planning and executing. But we are changing. Let me show you here in my browser 3 links. The first one, Microsoft has now the largest Git repository on the planet. Git repository. This is GitHub statistics, live from their page. Microsoft has the largest open source project, which is currently on GitHub. And this is how we are changing internally our entire testing infrastructure, from complex UI-driven tests to tens of thousands of unit tests to enable continuous integration and delivery. How are we going to reach all apps, all platforms? Of course, we believe in the power of the cloud, but we also accept that some customers don't want or can't go into the cloud. So cloud, on-premise, and hybrid support is a very important cornerstone of our future strategy. And the other thing, as you've seen it on the browser, we believe in open platform. You want to build Java, you want to build Node, you want to go open source, that's perfectly fine. We want to support all these platforms. So let me show you some examples of what we can do. The first example that I would like to show you here is a brand new product. It's the App Center product. Many of you are currently going into the app world, and in traditional enterprises you are used to build big monolithic ERP apps and things like that. An app is new, and the App Center makes it really nice, an integrated place where you have a nice UI, nice web portal where you can do building, testing, and managing of your entire product lifecycle. You can do the entire DevOps stuff from one single place. And the beautiful thing is that we cannot only run tests against Android, iOS, and many other platforms, but we also support hosted tests. So if you want to run your tests in the cloud because you don't have the number of devices on which you want to test, you can use our huge data centers that we invest in to use Android devices, iOS devices, to screenshots, to recording videos, and so on, to really have CI/CD for apps, if this is the new thing for you. The other thing that you might do is you might, for instance, use a different development technology. And what I have created here, for instance, is a small Java application. And if we want to build, continuously integrate this Java application, for instance, let me quickly go into the build definition to show you 3 points that show what we mean with openness for the future. The first thing that I would like to point out here is that you see you have all the different hosted versions. We offer you the build infrastructure. If you want to focus just on your app, use them. If you don't want to focus on the cloud, run your agents on-premise. What I did here in preparation for this demo, I just created a Docker environment running on my laptop. And our Visual Studio Team Services product is just orchestrating the thing. Your code does not leave your enterprise. You can benefit from our tools, but you can stay on-premise, for instance, using containers and Dockers. What you also can do is you can decide where to store your code. Of course, we invite you to come to VSTS and use our data centers to do source code repositories. But you can also do, for instance, a local Git server, or Subversion, or GitHub Enterprise. That's perfectly fine. Your code will be built and stored on-premise if you want. That's completely up to you. The next one, if we talk midterm, we see that companies have to change. Many companies, especially enterprises today, focus on this predictability and stability, the existing applications. But more and more companies know that there has to be something different. A mode too in which we are working, a mode in which we develop software like startups do. That we develop software in DevOps plus QA teams, where testing becomes to a certain degree code, where you have this continuous delivery up to the production system, where you have this production-first mindset, where it's really important to have everything running in the production system and you want to monitor and learn from it to get insight. This is what we see at startups, of course, but this is what we see more and more at enterprise customers, and we want to support that. We want to support you if you decide to go for microservices with all the technological diversity that comes with it. We want to support you when it comes to logging and monitoring and telemetry. That's not a trivial thing if you are working in a highly distributed cloud-based infrastructure, be it private cloud or public cloud. The choice is up to you. And we want to support you to automate, to live a culture of automation and DevOps. Let me again show you some examples. The first one, I would like to show you that in Visual Studio. This is our Primer IDE, and I'm going to show you something which is also brand new, and it's called live unit testing. Let me zoom in a little bit. Imagine you are you are editing the code and you have automated testing. I change the code, for instance here, I create a bug. I take my hands from the keyboard and you see the red axis. It automatically runs continuously in the background all my unit tests. And it's managed by Visual Studio and the Visual Studio product family. So now I can fix this again and everything's fine. That's the kind of productivity, the kind of integrated loop that we are talking about. But it's not only that. If I take a look, for instance, at the unit test that I created here, you see here things like, for instance, code lenses, where I can click on it and I immediately see the status of all my tests. I can go to, for instance, here, I have my algorithm and I see that this algorithm is tested by 5 tests. And I see their status, so I'm always in the loop and I'm really productive as a developer. When it comes to not being the developer, but being the guy who is responsible for managing all this build and release infrastructure. Let me go here, for instance. I have my build process set up here, but I can also do the releasing process. Let me show you that. I click on releases. You probably all know what building means. I build this solution, for instance, in a Docker container or in the cloud. And if my internet is not leaving me alone, yeah, here it is. Here you see what we call release management. So what we can do here in the release management, we can define various environments. For instance, a test environment and a production environment. And now my wireless LAN, yeah, now it works again. Let's edit it, and here you see, for instance, our release definition. What we do here is we have our entire build infrastructure that you probably know, and we integrate our release pipeline, where we, for instance, say, put it in the test environment. Once the test environment has been deployed, send the responsible person an email. I have created this email up front, here in my Outlook inbox, that tells the responsible person, hey, give me an approval for putting this into production. I can click on it, and when I click on it and say, yes, I approve, we will automatically push this into production. And I have deployed this up front, and let me quickly turn on the testing here. If I want, I can, in the test environment, before approving the putting into production, I can directly here perform an exploratory testing. This is another part of how we can integrate into browser, for instance. I can say, okay, let's go to the About page. Oh, there is a bug. Well, I know of this bug. I can create directly here in the browser, during my exploratory testing session, I can mark this, I can do some annotations, hit OK, and I like this stuff, and I can immediately create a bot, for instance, which runs back into Visual Studio, which again is seen by the developer, and he can, for instance, create a unit test to automate testing this stuff and prevent regressions. This is what we mean with DevOps culture. And let me close in the last 1.5 minutes with a long-term view. Where do we think we are heading to? And this is what we think we are heading to. Robots, software robots, are going to help us a lot. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, and things like that. We strongly believe that we have to build the foundation for the future of quality assurance today by investing heavily into machine learning and artificial intelligence. And I can show you things that happen today. For instance, Microsoft Azure has a product that is called Application Insights. I can immediately drill down into my production environment, and it will automatically give me nice indications how often a certain page is loaded, what the response times are, how my environment looks like, without any code. It's done automatically. And if you use Application Insights, you sometimes get these interesting mails without setting up any tests or something. Here, a machine learning algorithm already today looks at my data and tells me, hey Rainer, you have a change in the behavior of one of your microservices. Maybe you want to do something against this. I have not set up this alert. This is machine learning and artificial intelligence in action here inside of our products. And we are investing heavily in this kind of tools with vision APIs, with text analysis, with machine learning, and so on, to be ready for this future of software quality. I hope this gave you an insight how we see the future, what our tools are currently capable of, and I would say thank you for listening to me.